What's happening YouTube? Genji here, and welcome back to my playthrough of Foundry. In the last one, we got access to elevators and managed to build an elevator down to the lava caves deep below the surface, where we were able to set up some thermalite smelting. So for this episode, we're going to start with bringing that thermalite back up to the surface, or the thermalite sheets anyway, so we can get them onto our main bus for manufacturing with them, and then maybe we'll take a look at getting a hold of some mineral rock for some concrete processing. So let's get back into it and see what we can do. Let's load up our episode 3 post save. I did go back in and spruced up our lava cave extension just a bit to make a nice screenshot for the thumbnail of that episode. So I just added some guardrails, moved the conveyor line a bit, and brought it underneath the pier over to the smelter. I do need to bring some foundation over there, it looks like. Right now it is not powered. So I'll just drop this below like so, so it's actually loading. And we'll use our ladder to come back up. So what I'm thinking is nothing particularly fancy. So right now we're at maximum capacity here, so we need a unloader or exporter. And then we'll just bring this line down back underneath the pier. And then I'll probably have to push this rock out, or push this section out one more into this rock so that I can bring the other conveyor line parallel to this, and then we'll just use a second lane loader to bring this back into the elevator to go back up. So let me start digging, and we'll get that set up. Okay, there we go. And I also went ahead and took out one extra row around the side and the back so we can put some walls up to make this look a little bit nicer. So let's drop our foundation down to right about there for now. We might push it back a little further, but we'll see where our belt ends up. And then we're going to copy our blocks for the walls and bring this whole wall out from behind. Oop, I missed one. Probably just do a area placement instead of one at a time. 2, and we fall off the edge. Great. And 3. And then same for this side. We need some more. Do make an assembler for these so that we don't have to keep handcrafting them. We'll just go upstairs and grab a few stacks of them. I also noticed that these, if you hold right click, there are some other shapes that we can use here. I'm not going to do anything with it right now, but I am going to experiment with maybe getting a different look for our bases. Something more than just the default, like, blocky... we want to call this like a tech cube, I guess. Can't get to that spot. There we go. Bring this to... Oop, no. Where's it going? It's going crazy. There we go. Cool. So now we can take a second lane loader, which I don't have any of, so we'll get one. And then we can bring this in, say, right here. And we'll set that to import, which it already is. So we can bring our conveyor belt back this direction. And now let's get it from out of the smelter. 8 right here as an output. Jump down in the lava just to place some more foundation. And we're going to need to take this down the same way that the current up ramp is. Looking for ramps. Build a bunch of those. Let's go in the opposite direction. Down. Spin it around. 1, 2. Oh, it's transformer. And then we do need to bring this out one more before we can turn it this way. And bring it across. And then from here, we probably want to line this up with our return feed here, so then we can go back up again, 5, up. 1, 2, perfect. And then, oops, that one. Finish it off. There we go. Not perfectly aligned, but it'll service us well enough. So now we have our smelted sheets headed back into the intake here. So we should see, yep, elevators going back up. So let's follow them back up. Let this continue to do its thing. It's smelting. Perfect. Take me to the surface. See you up top. Here we are. Oh, here's a new little critter. What are you? He's adorable. Look at him. Jungle critter. Oh, you got the shaky leg. I notice you can pick them up. Oh, they just become an item? Okay. Oh, and then we can place them back down again? Huh. I guess you can bring them, like, into a building if you want to keep one that's like a pet, maybe. But we'll leave you outside wild and free for right now. We do need to head to the upper end of our freight elevator and then bring this back out again. So let me tear this wall down and we'll see what we can do behind here. We may have to extend this line out one more so that we have room to tuck in an inner belt of a return feed. Although we don't want it to go to the same place. Well, we can go under this to get it all the way back to our main bus. But I will start tearing this wall down, and then we'll see you in a minute when we figure out what we want to do. Okay, I think we have a plan now. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to bring this new line under this line. So I put a little loop in here to bring this out and around to give us enough space to put an elevator, not an elevator, but a ramp down here. So let's pop down our exporter. Take our output conveyor. And then we're going to go down. We need to actually bring this back one here. Like so. Bring this forward and then down again. And now we can bring this basically all the way out. Let's see how long this will actually let us make this. We get out from jumping on this. There we go. So what I've done is I've already pre-dug this trench to go all the way back into our base. So we'll just keep this coming along this direction. Till we hit this wall. And then we'll turn this direction. Keep coming back. Give us 2 spaces for up ramps. 1, 2, 3, and here we are. Now we're back at our main bus here. So let me go and fill in the top layer of this trench just so we don't have a big hole in our nice pristine outdoor environment here. And we'll plop down some dirt all the way to here and then switch to tropical rainforest. All the way to here. That's good enough. And then we just need to patch up our wall. So we'll copy this and do... I don't think we need to do anything behind it. We'll do 1, 2... I don't know how I feel about that, but it's fine for right now. Maybe we'll chop these blocks out and put some other blocks in here. It'd be nice if they had something like Satisfactory where they had little pass-through blocks that would accept just the size of a conveyor belt and it took up a space, made it look nice. But since we don't have that yet, we'll just have to leave big open blocks here. So we are now outputting our Thermalite sheets. I'm not sure why it's going so slow. I thought we had a pretty good backlog. I don't know if the elevator is just that slow or what. I know it takes time for each individual thing to arrive, but it should be also going in at a fixed rate downstairs as well. Let's go downstairs and take a look. Maybe we took so long bringing our belt all the way back there that it cleared up the backlog. Let's go take a peek. Yeah, it looks like all of our backlog of process plates is done, so we should just be getting this single output plates. Yep, one, and then there should be one headed down. Okay, so we're back up to speed. Let's go back up. We may want to consider putting in some more smelters, but we'll see what exactly we're making with these light sheets first before we determine how much of what the production level of smelted sheets needs to be. Flashlight. One other thing that needs to be fixed. There. So before I bring this back up to our bus, now that we have access to freight elevators, I want to toy with the idea of changing how we're pulling off of and placing items onto our bus here. So right now we're just using ramps, and the higher up the bus goes, the further out we have to put our assemblers, so they are at uneven distances, and they are at a how do I want to phrase this? Because they're loading from the back, we can only put one assembler per instance of us pulling things off of the belt. So for example, if we wanted to expand our machine part production, we can't just put another assembler in front of this and continue pulling down from the existing conveyor belts that are pulling the parts down. We have to go all the way to the end of our line of assemblers and put one down there, and then put a fresh exit or off ramp from our bus to feed that assembler. So now that we have access to the elevators, we can next do a few things. So we no longer need all of these ramps. We can just put the elevator directly next to the bus and then pull items off of it and then feed those items in a horizontal line, which we can then put as many assemblers of the same, manufacturing the same part as we need down that line, so they can pull off of that line and then output their goods onto another line coming back, or from the front coming back. But it does clear up a lot of these little weird quirks that we have to do to use this system as it stands now. So I want to toy with the idea of maybe redoing this whole bus, moving all these assemblers. The drawback of this is that the freight elevators do take a considerably larger amount of space. So like maybe triple the amount of space that these take, since these can be parallel, and a freight elevator is 2 or 3 wide, I believe. Do I have any freight elevators on me? I don't. Let's make one real quick. Yeah, so it's 3 wide. So if we have a manufacturer that's using 3 different ingredients, and it's actually going to take up 9 squares wide. But again, we can feed, with those 9 squares, we can feed an infinite number of assemblers off of those 3 taps into our bus. Whereas right now, if we want to feed 3 assemblers, we need the same 9 lanes to pull stuff down. In fact, maybe more, depending on where we can squeeze our buses. So ultimately, I think it's probably more efficient in the long run, but we do have to tear all this down and rebuild it. So let me prototype what I'm thinking before I start tearing things down, just to make sure it's something that's feasible. Oh, and there's our inventory size upgrade. So we have a whole new row here. Very nice. So I'm going to clear space out here, and we'll drop down just a prototype of a single assembler line, and then we'll see what it looks like, and then see how we can fit this into our existing manufacturing. Okay, so here's a little mock-up of what I'm thinking here. So here's just a slice of our bus that we can make basically infinitely as tall as we need it to be, as we add more and more manufactured goods onto it. And so the idea is that instead of building individual ramps down and keep pushing the ramps further and further out as the bus gets taller and taller, we just have a uniform set of elevators that always sit on the same horizontal coordinates here, alongside the main bus. And the elevators can get taller and taller and taller as our bus gets taller and taller and taller, and we don't have to push our actual manufacturing back any further. It can stay aligned, if you will. And so let's walk through this one step at a time. So we've got our goods that'll be coming through the bus up top here. So on this first elevator here, we're grabbing some component here off of this 7th height bus, goes into a load balancer, and then splits off into a loader that goes into the elevator. And then the same for our second component for whatever we're manufacturing here, hypothetically pulls off of bus number 5, or conveyor belt number 5 here, goes through a load balancer into a loader, into our elevator. Both of these come out the bottom, spit out the bottom of the elevator, and they go into a pair of conveyor belts that then go behind our infinitely expanding row of assemblers, so we can continue to add more assemblers as we need more and more production of that item, which I'm sure will start to ramp up as we get further into the tech tree and into the manufacturing of the robot parts. And we can upgrade these, we'll go from the red conveyor belts to yellow conveyor belts, and whatever's past yellow conveyor belts. Get these flashlight on here. And then on the other side of this, we've got our output loaders, and they're going to feed back to our return conveyor. That return conveyor is then going to pass through a tier 2 logistics container here, so that we can, at any point, if we need some for handcrafting or for making something out in the field, we don't have to pull stuff off the line or come over and grab stuff out of the machine itself. We just come up here, grab from the container into our inventory, and then after that, it'll go into the return elevator to go back up onto the top belt, which will be the new belt for our latest manufactured component, and that will go off to something else that's going to use that further down the line. And once that line hits the end and starts backing up, then our container will start filling up as there's nowhere else for those items to go, so they'll just continue to accumulate in our buffer, as you will, for us to grab from for handcrafting. So it's a little bit more involved, it's considerably more involved than our current setup, which is just, if we need an item off the bus, we just stick a load balancer on it, stick a ramp on it, and then go directly into one machine, and that's it. This allows us to expand as much as we need. So maybe I'll get this set up with a few basic components, like, obviously there's no power here yet, so I'll have to run some power over from our foundation, but then we'll start from the beginning. We'll put our machine parts on here, and then our rods on here. Not our rods, but what do we use rods for? Copper, wire. So I'll basically just start reproducing our existing bus over here until we no longer need any of this, and then we can maybe put this into a building of some sort, so we have like a giant production warehouse or something of that nature. But yeah, this is what I'm thinking for right now. So I think this is pretty convenient, if a little bit more involved in adding new items onto our manufacturing bus, but I mean, that's half the fun of the game, right? So let me make a few of these. We'll copy this a couple of times, get this hooked up to maybe our output of plates, something along those lines, and then we'll see how well it works in practice. Okay, so I've redirected all of the lines for our, I guess what we'll call first order goods. I'm sure there's probably a automation game term for them, but things that are directly smelted from raw materials. So plates, rods, steel, kind of, even though that takes 2 components, and then thermalite plates, and then we put them onto the first bottom 4 belts. These are basically the most basic components that everything else would be pulling from or manufacturing from. I did put labels on each of our lines here, starting from the bottom. So we have plates, rods, steel, and thermalite sheets. And then our first row of manufactured goods, at least on this line, is going to be machine parts. So I did not bother with elevators for, obviously, the plates and the rods, because they're low enough that just a direct feed and a single ramp can get them in. But starting with the 3rd row and going up, I am going to put them onto elevators, at least on this side. So this will be our input for these lines, and then if we need to, because I did put them on balancers so that if we need to feed in like a 2nd row, if our demand becomes so great that a single group of 8 smelters isn't enough material to feed our industry, then we can just back our bus up and add additional input lanes further down for the input of our raw materials. So we have now 2 assemblers making machine components, and again, we can, if we need more machine components, we can now stick additional assemblers in a row going this way. We'll have to clear a little terrain, but that's besides the point. So they'll all feed onto our return bus. Going back, this is very similar to how things work in Factorio. Only Factorio is 2D, so we don't need elevators to get them back onto our buses. So yeah, now we have our first 5 rows filled here. So we have plates, rods, steel, Thermalite sheets, and now machine parts, which I can see dangling off the edge there. So we also have now machine parts that we can come and grab for handcrafting. So our next task is going to be getting wire coil on here, and since we already have the rods on here, this will be pretty easy. We're just going to duplicate our elevators, our container, and our assemblers 1 row down, so it'll be here. And we'll put our assemblers in and feed back into the bus up on the wire coil, and then we can do our first 2 component assembly, which is the electronics components, or electronic parts. Yeah, electronic component. So let me build another row. Well, let me clear some land first, and then we'll put down some foundation, and then we'll build another row of these assemblers. Let's do it together that time, but for right now, we start digging. Okay, I think that should be enough space to work with. So I am in between each row of assemblers. I am going to put a little dip that goes underneath the bus here so that we don't have to walk all the way around to wherever our bus extends to in either direction to get past this. So we'll just pick a little dip underneath it with a little light there, looking neat and fancy, so that we can just quickly, wherever we're trying to get through, we can just find the closest gap underneath and then just whoop, pass under, and then we're on the manufacturing side. So let's start by taking our, well, we're going to be making what? Wire coils. So we're going to need, well, we don't actually need elevators off of this side, but we do need a ramp down and a balancer to split the rods off of this. So let's pick a lane here. So we're doing a two gap space. Well, let's see. We've got 2 from our output row on this line of assemblers. We've got 1, 2, then 1, 2 for our stairs. So we'll do 1, 2. So our line coming in this direction will be right here. And there's our yellow conveyors that I want to put at least on these lower areas, since we're probably going to be consuming a lot of plates. We're going to be consuming a lot more plates and rods than, say, advanced machine components. For now, anyway. But let's split off of this. So if this is here, that means we're going to need to break our rod line here and here. And put our balancer here. And because this is only on the second row, we can just use a ramp here. So a slope down, facing this way. And then, can't copy that. There we go. And we'll go out like this. So we won't need an elevator on this side, but we will need an elevator on the output side to get up to the 6th row. So we'll take this straight out. And we want to put our assemblers, make sure I'm copying the right thing here. We want to put our assemblers here. Nope, on the other side. Did it again. Here we go. So this is our input conveyor. So our assembler is going to be here. And because this only has 1 component, it doesn't really matter which one of these lower blocks we pull from. I'll just take the frontmost one. So now we're going to be pulling in rods. We're going to set this to make wire coils. We'll duplicate this one more time here. There we go. Now we have 2 assemblers making wire coils. And then we can use output on this side to take our row. Let's just start it here and head back. And our elevator, well, actually it's going to stop right, I think we did this. Okay, I right aligned that, that's what I did wrong. So I need to leave space. We have to go up 1 because in order to get the we call this the freight container, logistics container. In order to get this level with the platform that goes over the top of this line so we can just walk in a straight line and get over all of our manufacturing lines, we do have to bring our output conveyor up one level and then back down again. So we have to scoot this back a bit to here and here. Set this to output and output, and then our up ramp is going to be on this line here. So we'll take this out, go up, go 2 over, fill in this gap and this gap, and then back down again here. And we'll take this out this far, build a logistics container 2. Things are so noisy. Logistics container 2 is going to go here because we need these 2 blocks here to put loaders here and here. And then the first one will be the input, this one will be the output. So when this line backs up, it will start collecting in here in the... This is kind of a buffer into our input system, but this is also just for us to come and grab these if we need them, like if we need to make a bunch of power line, for example. So we'll let these manufacture while we connect our elevator to get up to whatever row we're going to. So this is going to be 2 back, like this, I believe. Yep. And then we'll copy this, pick the top, and this is going to go up the 6th row. So here's steel. That's steel, sheets, machine components, and then wire coil. I think that's right. We can go up our... Oop, barely made that. I think that's right. We're going to find out. So we'll slap a output on the left-hand side. I need to make that an output. Well, let's do this. So can I copy that from here? No. So this does need a foundation to actually power that, but what we can do is, since we have to have this here anyway, we can put 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Oh, come on. There we go, so we can climb up this. And yeah, it looks like it should be on the right row, or the right column, I guess. So let's face this way and see if I can get a good angle on getting this underneath like that. And we're gonna interrupt this belt here. Put a balancer on it. Let me line this up properly. Oh, I had it for a second there. Where was it? There. Like so. Slap our flashlight on. Yep, that looks good. And now we just connect this to the bottom of the elevator. And we should, in a moment here, as soon as the elevators start reaching the top, we should see copper coming out here. Oh no, I set this to output. Boop. There we go. All right, that's our 6th line. So we have 2 more lines to fill up here. We've got electronics components and then advanced machine parts, which take steel beams and machinery parts. Okay, so we have now 2 2-part constructions, right? For some reason, I thought this took 3 ingredients. What do we have that took 3 ingredients? Was it red science or science? No, something we made before. Oh, it was this. The transport bots take 3. So the nice thing about this is if it's something like the transport bots, or say foundations, I think, or building blocks we're automating, conveyor belts we're automating, things that don't need to go back on the bus. We don't need this elevator to put them back on the bus. Our lines can just stop here at our logistics container. That way, all of our logistics containers for things we need to grab are all in one location, as opposed to right now, where we've got, you know, a logistics container for steel is here, logistics container for rods is here, for plates is over there, for foundation blocks and for conveyor belts is over there. They're just all over the place, which is fine because when you're first building up your base, you got to put things wherever they can go just to get things online and in production. Oh, we do have to reproduce this catwalk here. So we need a bunch of those. I don't think I have any. So let me queue up a bunch of these walkways. No, I do have some. Oh my god, so much noise. Cacophony. So these are going to line up with the bottom of our logistics container. I think they go right to here. Because we then need an up stair to get over this. Because if you just keep going straight, unfortunately, it intersects with this. In my original design, these were lower, but there wasn't enough space actually loaded into this. So this used to just go up one, go straight across and back down. It looked a lot neater, but because of this raised belt here, we have to then go up on our catwalk one more time. Continue over the top. And then come back down the other side. And then you need these little feeties on it to get rid of those guardrails. And the same on this side, we need it downstairs. We gotta bring out one more. 1, 2, 1, 2, and then the feeties. There we go. So now we can walk up here. We can grab wire coils if we want. We can put wire coils away if we have extras. But now we need to do this one more time. Well, 2 more times technically, because we have 2 more belts to fill up, and then we'll be all caught up with the manufacturing that we currently have online. So let me start clearing some more land. Okay, we're gonna set this last one up, and then I think we'll take a break from expanding this and go look at maybe getting a hold of mineral rock or something else more productive to getting along our tech tree instead of just rebuilding our existing manufacturing capabilities. But I wanted to do one where we're pulling in 2 different items. So let's get our input row set up. So we've got 1, 2, then 1, 2 for our pass under, and then 1, 2. So our lines are going to be here. And because this is going to take 2 components, we may actually need, well, not may, we're definitely going to need a second one. So our assembler is actually going to be pushed 1 space forward from this. So actually I'm going to need to take 1 more row out. So give me just a second here. There we go. Okay, so we'll grab our assemblers. So I do have 2 assemblers. So they're gonna go here and here. And these are gonna be making electronics components. Yeah, configure electronic components. So we need to pull in Technum rods, which is just going to get a ramp, but the wire coil does need a input elevator. So we're actually going to take this back to here, and we'll grab our Technum rods first. So this line is going to come from here. So we're going to break our rods here. Grab a balancer, face it this way, and then we have to go into free place mode to actually put it out one like that. Like so. And then we'll turn, oops, like this, ramp down, and that's just going to go straight onto our outer lane. And then for our inner lane, we're going to need a freight elevator. It's going to go on this line here. Do an output. Copy this freight elevator. So our Oh, here we can visually see it here. So this is going to go on 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, if I'm not mistaken. That looks like it's level. It's lined up. So now we need a input here. Some foundation to power it. So if it's on the, if you're doing an output from the freight elevator, you want the loader on the left-hand side, and the other two spaces are actually going to be for the load balancer, or the conveyor balancer, sorry, on the output side of it. So it's going to spit out here and go this way because we're adding on to the bus. And in this case, we're pulling in, so the loader is actually going to go on the right-hand side, and then the two left hands are going to be for the conveyor balancer to exist here. So we're going to take our balancer, face it this way, and put it here. Nope, no. Try that again. It's going to go... Do we have to freehand this again? I think we might have to. Free place. Get a good angle on it here. And then back one, and then this way one. Why can't we put this here? What is it blocked by? What am I hitting here? Oh. Oh, I took the wrong hat. I'm on the wrong elevation, so let's put these back. So this is going to go here, and let's free place up there. Oof, pain in the butt. Alright, so we'll grab the conveyor, rotate it. No, we just have to go straight. There's no rotating because the balancer is doing our movement for us, or horizontal movement for us. So that should be coming in now. So we're pulling in. It should be copper wire. Yep. And we don't necessarily need a ladder going up there because we don't need to change it to a output. But we only do it on the other side though. So these are our components that we're going to need for this assembly. So let's take our input loaders here and here, and then our second lane loaders here and here. These should be manufacturing now. Yep. And then we're going to take our output conveyor back this way to here. Here are our output loaders. Out and out. And then we need to go up. Ramp up. 2 spaces and then a ramp down. Yep, that lines up. Go across, fill in these gaps. 1, 2, fill this in all the way to here, I believe. Because if we're going to need... Oh, wrong row. Delete, 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 delete. Try that again in the right spot. There we go. So then we're going to have an input and an output loader. And then a logistics container too. Get rid of some extra stuff here. Where's my logistics container? Here. So this is going to live here. Perfect. And now we need a freight elevator to go back up again. So we'll put this here. 9. We need 1 conveyor. And then, oops, we actually ran out of loaders. There we go. Spin that way. So that's going to get fed into the freight elevator, which we're going to copy, put a top on, and that's going to go up to the 7th row. So we're on 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And then we're going to duplicate what we had before. Let's take our loader. This is going on, so it's going to go on the left-hand side of our freight elevator with a conveyor facing this way. I did try making these like second lane loaders to deposit their output directly onto it, but they need a space above it. So if you try to put a second lane loader here, it'll complain about the the conveyor on top being in the way, so you won't be able to place it there. So you do unfortunately need the load balancer to skirt it back on, which is weird because you think the load balancer would be the same, the bus balancer, conveyor balancer would be the same height as the loaders. But here, just for my own confirmation. So take a second lane loader, right? And then we want to put it here. Yeah, it says there's a building in the way. For some reason, you can put a bus in there, you just can't put a second lane loader. So let me put that back. You facing this way, and then our balancer here. And we should... Oh, now we have to make this an output. Oh, we have to connect power to it. Getting ahead of myself. So, foundations. Like so, and then we'll put 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 ladders on it. Ugh. Once you get like above 4 or 5, the placement gets a bit wonky. Because you start, even though the ladder is flush against it, it is taking up a full block. So now your angle of your view is actually clipping the edge of the ladder block well above where you think the ladder would actually be. And then here you have to go around it. It's very unusual. Is that right? There. Okay, so climb up here and then press this button. Boop. And there's our electrical components. Electronics components, that's it. Okay, so I think we'll save putting the other rows on here. I think you get the idea. I don't really need to walk you through this a third time or a fourth time or whatever it is now. So I'll do that off screen. For right now, let's go take a look at getting some mineral rock, I believe was the concrete production research we unlocked. Let's take another look. Research interface. So we got somewhere in this tech tree. I'm looking. Piping. It was after piping. Concrete production. Here it is. So we need mineral rocks to produce gravel, cement. Ooh, with xenoferrite. Interesting. I wonder if we need to put xenoferrite ore and mineral rocks onto our main bus. That produces concrete. Ooh, with water. Okay, so now we're mixing solids with liquids. Interesting. That gives us 120% walk speed. And I assume that the concrete is produced in the casting machine? Yes. Interesting. I don't know necessarily if I would need concrete, but I have a feeling that concrete is going to be used as a component for building buildings further down the tech tree. Can we check that? Like solar panels or science pack, or it's green science packs. Yep, green science takes concrete, so we 100% have to get concrete production online. Okay, so we have the ability to scan for mineral rock, porous rock. I guess we gotta keep our scanner out here. Ignium, xenoferrite. I know there's one not too far away. I want to say it was this direction. Oh, here we go, mineral rock. It's actually pretty close to the surface too. So let me expose this. You know what? This would be a great opportunity to build some explosives. Where do I find explosives? Components, handhelds, explosive charge. Explosives? Yeah, how do we make explosives? I'm sure we've unlocked explosives already. Where is it at? Aha! Okay, so this is combined from ignium ore and technum ore. Interesting. Let's go handcraft some explosives. We'll blast our way down to that mineral rock. Manage inventory, so give me half a stack. Oh, it's technum. Oops. Here, crusher. Change inventory. You take this. Technum ore and ignium ore. Give me 100 of that. Give me 100 of that. Alright, and we will handcraft a bunch of explosives. And then we do need a explosive detonator. So this would be a perfect opportunity, rather than handcraft a bunch of electronics components, a ridiculous number of electronics components, I'm going to just grab some out of our new assembly line. So we're making them over here. Oh yeah, I forgot our catwalk. We had that too. So we need 40 of these. So we'll take 40 out, split, take that. I'm going to build this catwalk really quick. We're gonna need some more of that. Walkway. We're gonna need some more plates. I'm running out of everything. Down, down. And down. Oop, and short. Down. Good enough for now. I'll have to dig out another row here, but not too worried about it. So now we can build our handheld, where is it? Explosives detonator. Did I make one already? Because now it says I can make one. I feel like I might have made it already. Nope, I still have 40 electronics components. Okay, so we'll make one of these. Boop. There we go. So we'll put this in our slot 4. I knew it was saving that for something. We still have a bunch of ore rubble left. Oh, it takes biomass as well. Interesting. Can't mind those, wherever they are. There we go. Use up all of our ore, and then we'll just destroy the rest of the biomass. Don't really need it. So the explosives... Oh, we're out of everything. Machinery parts. Oh, we have no more plates. Okay, everybody's happy again. So now we need to make actual explosives, which are under handhelds. Yes, explosive charges. So let's make a bunch of these. Oh, these also take, hang on, cancel, 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 cancel. So these also take wire coil and electronic components. So let's grab a bunch of those. Conveniently from our new assembly line. A stack of electronics components and a stack of wire coil. And we'll get away from the noisy machines and we'll craft our explosive charges. They're going to take quite a while to build, actually, so we'll wander over to our deposit again. There she is. Right under our power pole, unfortunately. We may need to consider relocating that. Let's go. We do have 2 power poles, so let me grab our power lines, and we'll just quickly divert this power line away from where we're going to be blasting. So we'll go up here. As far as we can go this way, here, and back down here, and then we'll just delete this. That'll work. Everybody's happy? Looks like it. Okay, so scan one more time. Show me where that was. Here. So, inventory. Let's grab these explosive charges. I'm not quite sure how this works, but I assume we just throw it down. And then 4. Fire in the hole. Beautiful. Whoa, damn, that takes a nice chunk out of the ground. Okay. Here we go again. Place. Uh-oh, we're actually stuck in here. Let me out. Detonator. Fire in the hole. And still we need to go a little bit deeper, so we're right on top of it. Try to get roughly in the center here. No, this is going to be a pain to get back out. Okay, we made it back out. Ready, fire, well, I don't think we can get hurt by anything in this game. We can walk in lava without getting hurt, so I have a feeling that explosives aren't going to do anything to us, so let's just watch it in all its glory. And there's our rock. So, now we have to figure out where to put drone miners to be able to tap into this rock, and also I guess we could use our freight elevators to then just freight elevate it back up instead of having to build like a network of ramps coming up here. So we'll freight elevator our mineral rock back up here and then build a conveyor belt line to bring it back to our manufacturing. It's too bad it's all the way over here. Let me do a quick scan over here just to see if there's another one of these anywhere near, any closer to our new manufacturing. There is something out this way. That's almost farther away than the other one. Okay, it's just more porous rock. Okay, so that's going to be the way we do it. We're going to dig it up from over here and then just put a long assembly line bringing it over to our line here. Although we do have to combine it with water, so we may want to put like an intermediary construction. We have to combine it with the xenoferrite ore, right? Let me look at, we can't handcraft concrete, but we can look at the recipe. So we need gravel. So we need mineral rocks and xenoferrite ore to make cement, and then cement and more gravel and water to produce the concrete. So we're going to have to split our xenoferrite ore again. We're really we got to be getting pretty darn close to halfway, maybe through our existing node here. Getting there. Maybe we're probably about 45-ish% through what we have available here. So at some point we're gonna have to go exploring for some more. Hopefully it continues to last us. But we'll have to split our xenoferrite production. Probably have to add some more drone miners too. Maybe do a dedicated dedicated miners just for concrete production. And then we'll need some miners for... Where's our hole here? Did I lose a giant hole? Here. I need some drone miners for this, so I will need to bring power out here or just drop a feed off of our line here. It's probably going to be easier. And then we'll figure out what to do with it from there. Our water is coming in from over here, so that should be easy enough to tee off and bring a feed this way. So maybe we'll do our concrete assembly here. But nice midway point between our source of water, our source of mineral rock, and our source of xenoferrite. I think that works. All right, let me do some digging. I may even want to connect these two locations finally with like a proper walkway between our power plant and our main base, and then we can bring the walkway over here to where we're going to be dredging up some stone here. So let me start digging, and then I'll bring you back in when our foundation's in. Okay, we have a little bit of a walkway here. I did a little bit of prettying here just to light this walkway up. I put the light poles every 10 spaces. Seems to be about where the light seems to fall off from these. So put one every 10 spaces. They overlap just on the edges and keep things well enough lit. So these are going to lead right up to our pit here. And if I hop down into the pit, I cleared a little section down here to put our miners into, and they are wired up with power that goes behind the wall and goes back up to our walkway here. So this platform is on the same grid as our steam turbine station. And so the idea is, first I'm going to drop some ceiling lights in here, 1, 2, 3 of them to be exact. I did wire up some locations on the ceiling for these, so 1, 2, 3. Now I don't need the flashlight out. And here we're going to put a freight elevator down facing this way. And then we'll go up top and find the upper section to match this, and it'll automatically drill through here and bring our, well, it'll be available to bring our mineral rock up to the surface. We'll just have to come down here again and then place our drone miners. So let's copy, well, we don't have to copy it. We'll just go up there and select it from our inventory. Oh. Platform is a little bit janky. Okay, and there's our footprint. So now we're going to freight elevator top, and we want to bring this level with, I guess, this is where most of our manufacturing, this is our sea level, if you will, for most of our base. So we want to be at this elevation. So that's going to be up 1. From here, so up 1. Like so. This is very Minecraft mod-esque. There's no like visual representation. It'd be probably neater if it actually put like one rung of the lattice that surrounds it for each level instead of just like magically making the dirt disappear on its own. But hey, it is what it is. Okay, and then we'll need to bring this eventually. We'll get the output figured out once we get the input figured out. So, but for right now, we'll just put some platforms down. So this is going to be where our loaders come out. Here for our mineral rock. So let's get down in the mine. And figure out what we're going to be doing down here. So we know we're going to need some drone miners. So let's get those building. Let's start with 2. And we'll probably put 1 on either side and then feed them. Does this act as a balancer? Like, do I need to put a conveyor balancer in between these two, or can I just feed 2 loaders into it and let it figure itself out? Let's find out. So put a drone miner here, and another here. We're going to start mining. And then if we put this way and this way, then we can just run our belts 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Okay, it's sucking from that side. It's sucking from that side. So yeah, it looks like it's going to automatically balance the intakes on both sides of it. So that is very well balanced, very symmetrical. I like how that came out. I didn't really plan it that way. It just happened to come out like that. So that's beautiful. Unless we need to add additional miners in here, and then that throws everything out of whack. But I guess we could just duplicate this on the other side and then run the belts around the outside, maybe. I don't know. We'll figure something out if it comes down to it, but 2 should be more than enough for now. Let's get back up top. Get our flashlight out, because we don't have lights on this part yet. So we only need 1 output here for now. No power. Oh, right. Yeah, so let me get this connected up to, I guess we're going to go right in between here. So remember, we triangulated this between the mine itself, our water location, and where our xenoferrite ore is going to be coming in. So we'll probably do our concrete manufacturing right around here somewhere. So let me dig out, get a platform going over there, and then we'll figure out the building we're going to build then. So I'll see you in just a minute. Excuse me, I'm trying to intro myself back in. You're pushing me around here. All right, well, we're ready now, I believe, to bring all of our individual components together to form concrete. So we have our, we'll start here with our xenoferrite. So we have a conveyor belt here that runs down, under, and runs all the way over across the base to where we're planning to assemble them together. So we need to put down some drone miners here. Let's start with one drone miner. Well, you know what? Yeah, let's do one drone miner for now, because I don't know what the production capacity of the what do they call this thing? The fabricator, the casting machine is going to be. It doesn't show recipes here, so we'll have to build it in order to see what it can do first. So we'll get this guy sending xenoferrite over to our assembling location. So put a output belt here. It automatically detects it. So now we're going to have xenoferrite ore headed over. When this runs, you can kind of see the discoloration. I do kind of hate that you can see where you've dug up the ground and put it back in. But there's a line running underneath the science facility. Oh, speaking of, we've not had any research going for a while. Let's put, let's put the greenhouse in. That could be interesting. So runs underneath our launch pad. I do have to move the launch pad forward a couple spaces to line it up with the research building, just so I can build a pathway through here and connect it to our existing pathways so that everything, the whole manufacturing and power production part of the base is now all in one grid, and it has kind of a nice looking walkway to traverse across it. So we're going to bring our xenoferrite, which should shortly be arriving here. There it is. So here's part 2 of our assembly here, because we already have part 1 here. I did move the output of this to the left-hand side here instead of the back, so that our T intersection of all these individual components is right here in the center. So this is coming up from the pit, up the elevator, right to here. So this is going to be running this way to where we decide to put the fabricator. And then, as you can probably see, I did tee off our water supply from underneath the power plant building. It runs this way, turns here, right here. In fact, I need to cover that up. Turns here, goes back towards our main base, and I did actually tee it off here so that there is a feed running towards our main base in case we need to put some more water in here. We can pipe water into it, but for right now, it's just coming over this way, and we've got water here. So xenoferrite ore, mineral rock, water should be everything we need to assemble in this casting machine. So let's build it, see how large it is, and then put it into some kind of little building here. It's fairly large, but not as big as like the turbines. So what do our intakes look like? We're gonna have a pipe somewhere, right? Where's our pipe? The pipe is up high. Okay. Maybe we put it like... Ooh, getting sleepy. Our pipe is here, but we can move it. Our pipe is there. So we already have our rock coming up this way. So we can align it in the center and then move this forward. Or we can put it this way so that the panel, when we walk in the building here, so we're going to be coming down. Yeah, let's think about this ergonomically. So we're coming down, we're turning towards our building. Let's go see how our concrete production is doing. So we're going to want to see the panel facing us when we walk in the front door. So let's put this somewhere like here. And it's not set too far back. We only have to bring our rock up a bit. We only have to send our ore back a bit. And our pipe is actually a little bit overshot, but that's just totally fine. So let's... I thought that was asking for steam for a second. I got worried. So let's drill this back. And we will pipe it to right here. So we do need to put a right angle connector on this. There we go. And delete these. We'll copy this. spin it a bit, and then do it this way. Yep. And then, can we copy that? No. Give me a pipe. Give me a straight pipe. Give me a straight pipe going up. Okay, that should be our water input. Now we do need to put a full foundation under it. Be in. Okay, so we'll copy this, this, and this. And then we're stuck in here, so let's dart our way back out. Ah. We're never going to see it, but it is going to bother me knowing it's down there. Let me get a block in there. There we go. Fill that all in. So we have water. Now this isn't going to do anything.
Fantastic progress. Incorporating plants and trees into our factory setup not only enhances its aesthetic, but also contributes to a thriving ecosystem. With the greenhouse ready, we can now multiply the seeds we've discovered and embark on planting trees.
Did you really have to interrupt me to explain how greenhouses work? So this should be powered. Nope. Oh, we haven't picked a recipe. That's why it's still showing like it doesn't know what I'm talking about. Oh, you can't actually see that. I'm just going to do a ring around it. This is all... We're going to build a building around this anyway, so it's going to be completely encased. We're going to need a full floor. So this is just for my own... visual happiness. There we go. So let's bring our xenoferrite ore in as well. So I guess we're going to turn and then go in this way. Well, we haven't done anything else, but we've only done water, so we have a lot to do yet. So this is going to come this way and go straight in. Like so. And then just for symmetry, give me a bunch. We'll also do this into the back like this. So we need to bring that around and then up here. So let me do that real quick. It's going to require some digging, and I'll see you back here in just a second. And there we go. And I don't think this should interrupt our wall, because our wall will be more or less here or here. So that can pass over that no problem. So that's going to be just fine there. So now we've got all three of our components coming in here. Xenoferrite ore, mineral rock, water. Let's pick our recipe. We want to make concrete. Oh, wait. Oh, right, we're gonna crush it first. Hey, y'all have been screaming at me all this whole time, haven't you? Okay, so that's okay. I assume the gravel is just done in the crusher, but we do need to manufacture concrete first. So that's gonna be, let's see, components, mineral rocks, and xenoferrite ore rubble made in a crusher. Wait, so it's double crusher? There's mineral rocks and then mineral rocks and xenoferrite ore. Interesting. Okay. So we'll bring this back. We'll put two crushers in. Boom, boom. We can crush the mineral ore and then immediately spit it out into a second crusher with the xenoferrite. And then we should at least have water coming in. Why is this input unset? We do have water. Oh, you need it on this side. Come on. All right. All right, let me move this underneath the building. There we go. Okay, now we've actually got water. Perfect. So let's get our crushers in here. So I do need to put another row of foundations in here. Okay, I don't know where I want to bring the ore in yet until I get the crushers placed down. So let's put our first crusher down. Say here. So you're going to be making gravel. So let's put a loader here. And then a second lane loader here. 9. So then we'll go 1, 2. This is going to be output. There we go. And then let's sleep this. Because then we're going to want to bring gravel straight into this as well. So we're going to bring this all the way in. I don't think actually this doesn't even need mineral rock, does it? No, so we can actually get rid of this. Right, and then we can ditch this because we don't need a second lane loader here. We can just go straight from mineral rock to output. Actually, is this going to flow through? It is, isn't it? It is, okay. Never mind. Second lane loader 7. Okay, so that is going to go straight in. That works, so then we'll have our crusher here. We can go one space over. It's a bigger crusher to make cement. So this is where we're going to bring in our xenoferrite. No, we do need to bring this through. So you're going to come to here. We're going to load you in with a loader on 8. You're going to pull that in. Yep. And then our xenoferrite ore. Where are we going to pull that in from? If only we had third lane loaders. I mean, it'll be easy enough. I just need to move this down a bit. I'm just seeing if there was a more compact way we could do it. So let's put our crusher here. And then put our... We could load our xenoferrite ore from the front. I just want to do everything from the back because I'm difficult. Oh yeah, no matter what, we're gonna have to bring something in the front. Never mind. So yeah, make gravel. No matter what, we're gonna have to bring something into the front of this guy. Because he takes 2 ingredients and spits out 1, so that's 3 loaders, and it's only 2 wide, so yes. I was trying to fit everything in the back, but it's physically impossible, logistically impossible, because we need 3 loaders. So, let's take our mineral rock input and our... We can't really do a second lane loader output here either, can we? Because a second lane loader is going to spit this out on this line, and then first lane loader is going to spit it out on this line. If we had a third lane loader, which is in the research list, but is much further down. Let's take a look. See how much farther down the third lane loader is. Filter loader. Third lane loader is behind Science Packs 3, so it takes Science Pack 3. So yeah, we definitely have to make this work without the third lane loader. So we may have to put these on opposite sides. So let's do this. I'm going to break everything down. So is this lined up kind of more or less with the center of this? So we're going to take our mineral rock output and we're going to immediately split it in 2. And then we're going to put our crushers on either side, facing out. I guess it doesn't need to be this far back. It can be something like this. Forward. Actually, these need to be second lane. So this needs to go out one more. Like this, although this is a bit wonky because now this is going to have to... I guess we can face them forward, right? Because we're going to be coming in from the building. That's a smelter. Where's my crusher? Here, copy. We can face them this way. Could do 1. 2. And then do side load. Side load. You make gravel. You make concrete. There we go. And then we'll bring our xenoferrite in this back side. So we'll go back, forward, forward. Like so. And then we'll have to take this out and put a up ramp. Then load from here. Like so. Okay, now we have 2 crushers crushing. So walk in the building, we'll see our... what's this called again? Casting machine. And then behind it will be our crushers. And building is this way, so we'll take our output belt, and then we'll run these together. These should be symmetric, so we'll go here, and I ran out. Here and here. Then we can just go straight forward. Incredible. There we go. Can't really see what it's making, but... oh, we just have outputs, huh? Output. There we go. Actually, that was actually perfect placement because those line up directly. And there we go. Now we are producing concrete. So all we need is an... oh. Ooh, and we're billowing black smoke in the atmosphere. We'll put our output belt here. Set this to output. And then for right now, let's make a logistics container 2. Get rid of some of this extra, so much extra dirt. Here. Take this gravel. Extra dirt. Alright, so for right now, we're going to take a logistics container. I guess we could do it that way. We don't get to see the concrete moving into it, but we know it's there because we're going to see the counter counting up. And there we go. So at least for right now, we are building and stockpiling concrete. In fact, I may even want to... now we'll see what the building looks like. They do need to fit a wall, a passageway to walk back here to actually get to these back machines here. But yeah, we'll put a building around this with a door right around here-ish. Center line with this walkway here. So we'll walk in. Yeah, I may want to consider pushing that back, and then we'll just go around the right-hand side to get to the rear of the machines. Just we have these 4 uninterrupted going in. But yeah, concrete production is online. I like it. Okay, and here we have our building built around our concrete production assembly line here. So I did do a little bit different on the outside. I realized finally that there are different walls you can select from this menu. We've got some smaller walls to work with, some even smaller walls to work with, so you can get pretty granular with the walls. So I put together something more or less symmetrical. I did have one extra space on this side, so it's not perfectly symmetrical, but it's close enough. And it does rise up in the center to make room for the height of the concrete mixer, and then comes back down on this side. And then we just have our mineral rock being fed in the backside here. And I do have a ladder to come up top and just take a look at the roof and our smokestack. And then we'll take a look inside. So let's open the door. And here we go. So I figured this is our concrete production plant. Probably appropriate to have concrete slabs on the interior. So I did move the logistics container back one just so it lines up with our walkway here. And on the back side, I have foundation blocks bringing up low voltage just so we can do overhead lighting. And then we have a clearance in the middle for our concrete smelter, or whatever this thing is called. I keep forgetting. The casting machine, that's it. And then behind that is just our crushers. So pretty straightforward. So that whenever we need concrete, we can just run in here, grab some, and then at some point we'll have to pipe this back out of this left-hand wall and bring this into our manufacturer, our assembler for Science Packs 3. But I just wanted to show you what I came up with for housing this little assembly here. So it's hard for me to judge just how much material I have for a video, because a lot of these recordings wind up getting cut while I'm digging out blocks or putting things together off camera. But I think we probably have time for one more engineering project this episode. So let's take a look at Alumite, possibly. I believe that's oil, but I think we have to research it first. So we probably have to go through Science Packs 3. So let's take a look at that. Let's go all research. Yeah, Alumite processing goes through Science Packs 3. So maybe we'll automate Science Packs 3? Science Pack 3s. And then in the next episode, we'll get started on oil production, because that's probably going to be quite the endeavor, because we're going to have to locate it. We're going to have to set up extraction and then processing. So that can probably be an entire episode all on its own. So we'll wait for this to research, and then we'll see what we need to do to assemble Science Packs 3, and then we'll end it on that. There we go, Science Pack 3, and I'm sure that's going to now unlock a whole new tier of researches down here. So let's take a look. We've got filter loaders, nice. Just gonna let us set a specific thing to pull off a belt. So I don't know if we're necessarily gonna need that, as we're not really belt sharing in this, so we're not taking multiple materials and sticking them onto one belt, but it is a possibility if it comes down to it. But we do like to keep them separated. There's a 3rd lane loader finally, so we need some green science for that. Faster drilling, better mining efficiency, mining force. Aha, so this let us get through that stubborn kind of mid-depth rock that prevents us from going down outside of the porous rock columns. Let's see what else. Hull improvements for the space station. More ceiling lights. Ah, large ceiling lights, cool. A hover engine for flying drones. What else do we have in here? There's our Alumite processing for oil. Some more decor. I still haven't researched the basic, well, that's office furniture, but we will get that researched. Larger doors. Inventory size. Oh, we can now manufacture construction materials to send up to the space station. Neat. So let's get something researching here. What's going to... Oh, we're going to do all of my processing next episode, so let's go ahead and get that research now. And for right now, we're going to see what it takes to make Science Pack 3. Let me get away from these assemblers. Let's go to Science. So Science Pack 3 requires Thermalite bars. Interesting, so not even smelted sheets, these actual bars. So let's split our feed coming out of the landing pad, or just create a separate landing pad to feed it. Concrete and advanced machinery parts. Okay. Okay. So we've got advanced machinery parts somewhere here, I think. Here, that we're just doing nothing with. And we've got concrete here, so there's 2 of our 3. So we need to bring in a belt of Thermalite bars from either over here, or we make a second landing pad somewhere nearby and bring it over, but that shouldn't be too difficult. And then we'll have to build just for now until we get all of our manufacturing moved over to our new line down here. We'll have to just stick this on the end here because our research station is right here, so it's a bit more convenient for it to be located here than over there, but this is fine temporarily just to get us making green science. So let me expand this a bit, and then we'll bring our concrete line over here and our Thermalite bar line over here. And then we'll start making some green science. So give me just a few minutes to put down some foundation, and then we'll be back to put the final product together. Alright, so I've stuck a conveyor balancer on the output of our landing port here that's bringing down Thermalite bars, and we're just going to split off a new lane that travels under the platform. And then I've trenched out our feed going back to the main base. Let's go ahead and lay down our conveyors here, going around the corner, straight through, past our export landing pad, and then we do need to bring this up 1. I'm always out of these things. You go up 1 just to get it on the level that allows us to go underneath our launch pad here. So 1, 2. So now that's connected up, so we should have Thermalite bars passing under our original landing pad. Popping out the other side, I'd have to go under our xenoferrite ore bus. And that should bring Thermalite bars parallel to our concrete and our advanced parts. So this should be everything that we need for Science Pack 3. So we'll wait for the Thermalite bars to show up, and in the meantime, I'm going to patch these holes. To here, and then tropical rainforest. Okay. It's like we were never here. Nope, we do have one more row here. Through to here. And then we'll just bring this forward. There we go. I will patch that up at some point, but for now, we're just going to get back to making super science, because I'm sure our bars have arrived by now. Yep, there they are. So these are done in a smelter, not a smelter, an assembler. Let's go ahead and make an assembler, and I'm going to need some more plates. Grab plates. I also did throw in a container for our Thermalite sheets, just so there's a place for them to start building up while we are working on other things. So, assembler in hand. Let's see, we're gonna have to put this, we might have to reconfigure these lines a bit, or we just bring them right into the back. Because we are actually going the opposite direction of our usual layout here. But I think this is all going to get torn down and moved into our big bus over there at some point anyway. So for right now, we can just bring all of these individually into the back of this assembler. 1, 2, 3, loading in. set this to produce Science Packs 3. Look at that, it's beautiful. So I wonder, here, let me, since we have them available, why stick with rank 1 when you can have a rank 2 assembler? Let's make one of those. That way we can make twice the science. Or whatever the multiple is. Oop. Try that again. Make me science. Loading up. That does seem considerably faster. I wonder if you ever get upgraded loaders that allow you to load faster, because I do see that concrete is taking some time to get in there. I also wonder why we're allowed to have so much more concrete in here than any other components. At any rate, then we now need to take the output of this, circle it back around, and get it into our science lab. See, this is where we're going to need the tier 3 loaders, the third lane loaders. In fact, we may want to just collect by hand a bunch of science, a bunch of green science, and then we'll do all my processing after we do third lane loaders, because having this available will allow us to just stick a third lane loader on this, and then we can just bring our third lane of green science through like this. And then we don't have to reconfigure how we're doing loading on the back end of this, and we can keep this building roughly the same condition and shape that it's in right now. So we'll let this green science start to build up here, because we're going to need 75 of these. And while that's plinking away, I'm going to start digging a trench to get this back over to our science facility. So let me start digging, and I'll see you in a minute. Okay, while we're waiting for the science to build up, I did notice that we had unlocked glass production, but we didn't actually make anything to produce glass. So temporarily, I know I'm doing a lot of temporary measures, we're going to put a feeder output off of our mineral rock elevator here. And then we're going to just put a crusher and a smelter on this in order to produce some glass on the side here. And then I don't know what we're going to be using it for ultimately. If we do wind up needing it in like a manufacturing process and an assembler, we'll get something more official set up. But I think this might just be for handcrafting like windows, and maybe the greenhouse I think takes glass, yeah. So for right now, we'll just get some glass production online, and then if we need a lot of it, we'll create a separate building for it and do some nice looking facilities for manufacturing, and then feeding that into our main bus. So for right now, we're gonna need a crusher and a smelter, which I think, well, here, it's easy to make one. I have one laying in a box somewhere, but we don't need to run across the base for it. We'll just make one. So the crusher will go one space out. We're going to set this to create gravel. And then the smelter will go right next to it. Maybe one space out. Or maybe we do a second lane loader so that we can bring it forward and then just feed it directly into the back. Let's see what it takes. I think it just takes gravel. So we'll move this forward one. Where'd it go? Crusher. Spin it. Second lane loader. Output on the first lane. And then we can input on the first lane. 9 in this direction. There. So we need to set this to an output. And that should feed that into our crusher, which should start making gravel. Which should feed into this, which should start smelting glass. There we go. Now we have glass. So let's just temporarily put this into a container. So we'll copy this. don't know if we can do that. Because if we put this here, then this is going to start feeding on to this. So let's do another row of foundations in the front. Rotate this way. And then this can feed into... Where do we want to stick this? Maybe this way? So something like 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Like so, and then feed this way to here. Logistics container 2. Then a loader here. Set this to an output. There goes our glass. There, that works for now. So we have some glass available if we need to suddenly grab some for something. Yep, simple enough. Let's check on our science. So we're still at 51. So we're almost there. We're like 2/3 of the way there. So in the meantime, maybe we could... Let's grab some glass and some pipes. Just give me all the glass we have already. And I do need to grab some steel from our steel container to make pipes. Which is... here. Need to upgrade this to a full-size logistics 2 container. But for right now, we can stock up on pipes and produce a greenhouse. We can see what that's all about. Let me fill up some holes in the ground here while we're waiting. Try to retain as much of the natural beauty as possible. Greenhouse. Ooh, she's a biggin'. And it takes water, which I suppose shouldn't be a surprise. But what does it actually do? I guess we could do like a gardens over here, because we have our water feed coming this way. Let's just drop this down temporarily to see what the deal is. Missing building foundation, we know. We're just checking it out. Interesting. So I guess you put a seed in here and it gives you more seeds out. So we'll break this. I'll plop foundation down, starting here. 1, 2, 3, 4, was it? 1, 2, 3, 4. It looked like it was about 6. 5, 6. 2, 3, 4. Fill it in. And then we'll connect it. Put it on the same. Well, I'll line it with our concrete production. And try it again. So it is that exact size, but I'm going to push it this way. Nah, it doesn't matter. Like, if it's a permanent home, I'll need to build a wall here, and I want at least one space on the side just to get around it. Oh, goats! I feel like every time we load in, we have a different critter running around. That is a bit sad that you can only have one critter loaded at a time. Missing building foundation. Is it? Oh, it's deeper than I thought. Okay. Tear it back up. Yeah, we need one more row. Like that. Greenhouse. Okay, now it's powered. So configure greenhouse. And what can we do? We can take in seeds. So 4 seeds, trees, plants, rocky desert, sandy desert. There's 2 different kinds of deserts. A tropical rainforest, a tundra. Okay, so these are all the biomes in the game. So let's, for example, take forest seed for plants, which would be kind of great because then we can do a little botany, spruce this place up a bit. I did start putting some plants in, but it's so difficult to get the seeds. You have to just basically keep clear cutting entire forests to get a small chance of it dropping seeds. So this is actually pretty good. So we're taking seeds and mineral rocks in and then spitting out more seeds. Okay, understood. We'll leave this for right now. I don't think that's a super priority, but that is good to know. So we'll tee off of our water line, which comes this way, bring it up into here, and then concrete production is right across the walkway from here. So getting the mineral rock over here will be pretty easy. We'll just have to go under the building. And yeah, then I'm curious how this is going to work. So well, not really, we'll just go through it in our head. So we put one seed in. Does it give us 2 seeds out? Well, it has to, right? Because it's consuming 0.2 per minute, and it's producing 0.3 per minute. So we'll probably get 1 in, 2 out. And then we can split off. We'll probably have to hand cycle this, won't we? We'll either have to make it self-replenishing. That'll probably work. So we'll put like a small logistics container in line. So and then we feed 1 in, it'll produce 2. They'll roll out, go through the logistics container, go back in, and we'll eventually hit probably our 3 seed cap on what can actually be in here at once, and then we'll have to go through a few cycles of that, and they'll start building up on the input side of this until they back up enough that they start staying permanently in the logistics container for us to just come grab some when we need seeds. So yeah, we'll just need 1 or 2 as to seed the seed machine essentially, and then yeah, it'll be self-replenishing after that. All right, so we'll continue waiting for green science in the meantime. Okay, I got bored waiting for science, and I did go ahead and just tee off our water main here and bring it into the greenhouse machine. And I went and clear cut a forest and found a handful of seeds. So let's go ahead and set this to, I think it was already set, but we'll do forest seeds, manage inventory. We're gonna feed in some starter seeds here and some mineral rocks. And I can't tell if it's working or not. The water is building up. Our count hasn't gone down on anything. Maybe it needs to build up to a certain amount of water before it'll start working. Oh. Okay, it looked like it had to build up to like 300 water before it actually will start processing. Interesting. Okay. So we'll let that run. And we'll check on our green science. We do have enough green science now. Perfect. So let's grab our green science, and we're going to hand feed this into our servers. Just enough to research the 3rd lane loaders. So let's split 25. 25. And 28, sure. There we go, 1%. Okay, so now the waiting continues. But in the meantime, since this belt is now fully connected, I can set this intake to an output, and our green science should start building up on our conveyor in the back, so that when this research finishes, all we have to do is plop down our 3rd lane loaders here, here, and here, and then we'll be all set for science on our servers. So let the waiting continue. All right, our greenhouse machine is just about finished while we're sitting here waiting, so let's see what the output is from 1 seed. So 1 seed gives us 3, nice, so it's a triplicate. So yeah, we can set up feeding this back into the input and create a self-replenishing and sustaining process of seed production. So that's pretty cool. So we'll get that set up at some point. We'll get this into an actual building and maybe even get multiple of these machine online, just so we're creating different types of seeds. Like we even have biomes that we haven't even explored yet, like the tundra. So we'll probably want more than one of these ultimately. We'll have to set up a greenhouse facility, maybe something with our glass windows, now that we have glass unlocked, to make a nice actual proper greenhouse and put some plants in it just for decorating. So maybe we'll do an episode on that, but right now we'll just let this continue to build up, and we can even take our output seeds, feed them back into the input just to give us some more. So now we'll get 15 seeds out of this at some point. Oh, okay, there's our third lane loaders unlocked. I was just in the concrete production facility. I realized you could rotate walls so that they lay flat, so I could actually spice up the ceiling a little bit. So instead of just being a flat, matte, black slab, it's now got a bit of like a ventilation mechanism embedded in the ceiling just to spice up the look a little bit. But at any rate, let's get over to our third lane loaders so we can start feeding science into these machines. And I did cheat a little. I added a temporary fourth server back here just because it was going so slow. All right, let's get 1, 2, 3 third lane loaders. And drop these here, here, and here. Ooh, that barely fit. Good. Perfect. So now this should automatically load green science in, and we still have some built up. I'm going to go ahead and dump our extra in here. And then we'll start a new research project. For now, let's do all-light processing going so that's ready for us when we get to the next episode. But for now, that is going to do it for this episode. Well, with that in progress, we're going to call it there. So let's recap what we did today. We started our new manufacturing wing over here on the, the north side of the base. So we'll slowly start disassembling this manufacturing area and bring this over to our main wing here. And then I'll probably dig down under this and maybe run some more belts that bring the raw materials like the ores into this, because with the freight elevators, this isn't really, we don't have to go from ground level. We can go as deep as we want or as high as we want, and all we have to do is just bring it back up or down to ground level for manufacturing. So we'll do that at some point. What else? We got mineral rock extraction online with a little mining shaft. Bring it up to the surface. We got concrete smelting online and put into a little facility here. We got some temporary glass manufacturing set up back there, and then we got our green science manufacturing online here. So I think that's... oh, and we did a little greenhouse dabbling. So some nice check boxes checked for this episode. Nothing too crazy. I think the next one, when we get into all-white processing, will be a little bit more exciting because we're going to have to go searching for what essentially is oil, I would guess, and set up some oil extraction, some piping, no doubt, some refining, and then probably have to pipe it all back into the base. So that one will be a bit more exciting, but we had to go through all these steps just to get to that point. So if you've been enjoying this playthrough of Foundry, hit like and subscribe. If you want to check out Foundry for yourself, head on over to Steam and pick it up. And if you want to let me know what you're thinking of the playthrough so far, then hit the comments down below. But whatever you do, I will see you right here again in the next one. So until then, bye-bye.